The 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic from Browns Plains Tenpin in Brisbane. This is game 3 of the stepladder final. Mark Ramsay up against Andrew Drew. Andrew Drew defeated Paul Moreland and Jim Ferguson on the way to this stepladder appearance. And Mark Ramsay, he was successful over Steve Lovell, Chris Batson and Tony Kelly in game 2 of the stepladder final. First up, Andrew Drew on the left lane. Joining me in the commentary team is Jeanette Baker. It's first delivery for Andrew Drew. Brent Brooklyn, desired result, a fantastic start for him.
That's a great start for Andrew. It may have been on the Brooklyn, but there's nothing better than getting a strike any way you can on that first frame. As we see, the ball hooks over the left, and Andrew says, OK, I'll take it any way I can get it.
Here's his opponent, Mark Ramsay from Wavell Heights. He's a Brisbane City Council foreman. A great year in 1990. He won the New South Wales Open and the South Pacific back-to-back, Brisbane Cup and the Redcliffe City Open. He's the Cool Phone champion in 1989, the New South Wales and Queensland Open champion as well. Was looking to equal that strike of Andrew Drew's, but failing.
Yes, it was a solid shot, even though it hit the left-handed pocket. As we see here, the ball's going to go down, sending it out over first arrow, holding there, and just a little bit too high. Consequently, the 6-pin on the right-hand side is left.
Great friends and rivals, these two on the lanes. Safely makes the spare. Of course,
easy cover.
Yep, Mark Ramsay coming off a win over Tony Kelly, 186 to 167. We'll have a look at his action here, Jeanette.
High backswing from Mark, characteristic, using the hard case ball, going for the spare. Fairly straight through the release and covers the spare very comfortably.
Comes up to the line, of course, the first bowler to bowl a 300 game of this series. $10,000, compliments of Goldpin centres and interline guttering systems. Ramsay can't get it. But he can get another strike. His first for this match. So that helps out when you've got a spare into a strike.
Calling the ball back up into the pocket to bring it back from out where it was to come back into the pocket and consequently get him 10 pins.
Andrew Drew, a 20-year-old from Virginia in Brisbane. This is his second appearance in the Coke. 86, 87 and 88 junior Coca-Cola champion of champions, 87 Australian Masters champion. And in 1990, he won the Capalaba Open in the senior ranks. He's been bowling for about 8 years, seeded 7th in the tournament. Looking for a double. Nope, won't get it.
Checking his thumb there, he knew he was too late out of the ball, and consequently the ball started moving too soon on the lane and crossing over to the Brooklyn side. As we see, Andrew very strong, uses his weight, good high backswing, inside outside swing and straight up, but that thumb is round too soon.
Safely completes the spare. And Jeanette, this is a classic confrontation, a left-hander versus a right-hander.
Well, it's always a good confrontation to see the two. I mean, there's enough bowling equipment out there on the rack that it could almost be a pro shop, but the bowlers are top competitors. They use the equipment to the best advantage they possibly can. They'd rather change their equipment than to change their technique when it's in a one-game match.
We are into the business end of this year's Coke Classic. The winner on to meet Tony Roderick, the loser $2,000. Oh. Let's have a look what happened to that one. 9 pins down.
He thought he had it. He was telling the ball to stay, right? In other words, not to jump too hard on the back end. As we see, he swings it out through second arrow, holding, 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 and then it jumps up that fraction too much on the end.
I love the way bowlers casually turn around when they know they've got it.
Yeah, sometimes, though, you've got to hear that click of the ball connecting with the pin. You never know what's going to happen. Using the hard case ball straight out, it click, and then you can breathe that sigh of relief.
Do you really listen for it? I mean, they nonchalantly turn around and start heading back. You must wait for something.
Well, you do. I mean, as much as you feel like you fudged the shot, that is, you straighten the ball out, you still like to hear that click at the end.
Now I know why you can turn back. It's the sound. Let's wait for Ramsay here.
Hold.
Looking for a double and got it.
Well, he's using a soft case ball. He's calling the ball to hold, and it did so. Gave him the desired result as he sends it out. First arrow, holding, and it did. Sat up and went through the pocket. We see long steps, heel toe. That is a power bowler if he uses heel toe method. Stay solid at the foul line.
We'll take a short break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Mark Ramsay all smiles. He's looking good against Andrew Drew in the second step-ladder game of the 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic. Continues here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. This is a step-ladder final between Mark Ramsay, who was up at the line next. He's coming off 2 strikes, looking for a third. That is commonly known as a turkey. He's against Andrew Drew, who at this stage has strikes spare. Big sigh of relief. They're taking plenty of time, Jeanette.
Well, that'd be the breath. Make sure to relax the muscles, especially the stomach muscles. Big, deep breath, expiring all the energy on the ball.
Let's see if it works. It certainly did. There's 3 in a row for Mark Ramsay, on target for a 290 game at this stage.
That was a great shot by Mark. I mean, the pressure is really on these guys, and he's able to swing that ball, trust that ball out, right out near the channel, bringing it back, and the 4-pin just taking the 7-pin. As we see, I mean, that takes trust to let the ball go out that far and come back. And he's happy with that one.
As we said earlier, Mark Ramsay's second appearance in the step ladder, having already beaten Tony Kelly. Now it's up to his opponent, Andrew Drew. Went Brooklyn, a bit of luck, a pin coming back and taking it out.
Mark having a wry smile that time. Andrew's saying, hey, keep my hand straight. Elbow's a little bit to the right of his body. Consequently, over it goes. The 6-pin comes back and takes the 10-pin for him. He's using 1 bowling shoe and 1 track shoe. The reason being is because he doesn't believe the bowling shoes are able him to drive into the slide at the end, as well as a track shoe on that right foot.
And the hammer ball. Let's see how he goes. Oh, he's hit it right on the head with the hammer ball.
That's great stuff from Andrew. He had a Brooklyn. He got up on the left-hand lane. He knew what he had to do. He had to set his arm, elbow right inside that time. Much better shot. Straight down in the pocket and crunch. Much better technical shot from Andrew.
Young man, only 20 years of age. Did his second Coke appearance. He was disappointed with last year's effort. Top qualified, but beaten. Let's see what Mark Ramsay can do in reply. Yes, he too. Now we're going strike for strike. This is turning into a great match.
This is fantastic. Mark's talking the ball. He's really trying to talk the ball up into the pocket. He's sending it out. Once again, characteristic of left-handers. Out to the edge of the channel. Up it comes. Come on. Up it comes. Up it comes. Yes. And I've got 1 more, he says.
Certainly has. He's got 4 in a row. Beautiful style here for a left-hander.
Light, but the mix is there. Only 1 pin left on the deck. We show the shot there of him using the AMF Cobra ball, which is a soft case ball. Able to grab onto any oil that may be down the back end and still hook for him back into his pocket.
Oh, and again, that is 5 in a row for Mark Ramsay. Pumped up in this 3rd game of the step-ladder final in the 1990 Coke Classic.
He's really locked in, Mark. He's swinging it. He's solid at the line. Body's consistent. Straight in there. And, yeah, 1 more, he says.
Speaking to his wife before this contest, she said he's only got to find that shot and he's confident he can go on with it.
Don't underestimate Andrew. If Andrew can lock in, he can also produce strings of strikes as well.
Let's see his reply. Looking for 3 in a row. Got it! Oh, yes, strike for strike, these two, Drew and Ramsay.
This is great. This is absolutely brilliant. Andrew is really starting to settle in. He's found the pocket on that right-hand lane. He's shooting the board a little bit wider on that right-hand lane. There it is in the pocket. He says, now I've got that one. Again, so imperative with that straight up through the release and the 10 pins away.
Take a short break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Andrew Drew trailing by 21 pins, but this match far from over.
Once again today, we're going to look at the terminology used in bowling. The term we're focusing on today is the pocket. What it refers to is on a full deck of pins, the 1 and the 3 pin area for the right-handed bowlers and the 1 and the 2 pin area for left-handed bowlers. If in the event that the ball hits the pins smack on the head pin, the result is usually a split.
Welcome back on Nine's Wide World of Sports. This is a young man, 20 years of age, from Brisbane, Andrew Drew. He is currently engaged in a great battle with another Brisbaneite, Mark Ramsay. At the moment, Andrew on the scoreboard, trailing by 21 pins, but he's got 3 strikes working for him. If he can keep going, punch out from here, a 269 game. His opponent, though, on target for a 290. Let's wait for it. Oh, so close.
No, it just jumped a little bit too much for him at the end, and consequently, he was left with that 4-pin in the left-hand corner.
Not exactly ripped off, I don't think.
Oh, no, you execute a good shot, but you still got to hope that something happens.
Good effort there. Made sure of the spare.
Mark sitting on 5 strikes in a row out of 6 frames. He looks locked in. Can he stay in there?
That's what he was hoping to do. Ramsay now. No. The run of strikes comes to an end. Been a good effort, though. 5 in a row.
The crowd acknowledging that they respect the fact that he's had so many strikes in a row, but that one inside target, thumb down, and consequently through the headpin. He says, okay, 3 together, it's safe.
Oh, dear. Look at that. He knew it wasn't the perfect delivery, but he was lucky to get away with it.
Well, he acknowledges it was lucky. As we see, he turned the ball. He didn't give it enough room, and he needed it to hook so it could get the inside of that pin and just use the deflection of the pins to take them out.
For those bowlers at home, not exactly the perfect execution of that spare shot.
No, characteristically, the ball should actually touch all 3 pins on the execution of the spare.
Let's see if he can get back on track. Coming off 5 and then a spare. Crowd like it.
Ooh. Once again, a little bit lazy. He came out of that one early and it started to take off. He's checking his thumb. As we see, far too early behind the foul line for Mark. And when the ball gets down a little bit sooner than normal, consequently it starts to roll a little bit sooner and it hooks a little bit more at the back end. But he got a break. He only had left with the 2 pins.
Oh, dear. A gutter ball. My goodness. Maybe he's having a lot of trouble with that thumb. He's going back, checking his mark, looking at it. This is a perfect opportunity now for Andrew Drew. Let's have a look at it, Jeanette.
It just went sliding. It just kept going. The ball was not going to grab onto... It's a hard case ball. It's a polyester ball. And it's not going to grab onto anything. It's just going to keep sliding for him. And now Andrew, the question is, you know, at this situation of the game, he needs to start stringing a few more strikes.
Yes, a bit of luck. And my goodness, now we have a change.
Well, technically that wasn't a perfect strike, but when it comes to this stage of match play, it's any way they come. Thumb down a little bit too soon. On the over to the Brooklyn, and the 2-pin comes back off the wall and just touches the 5-pin. Again, thumb down too soon for Andrew. Gets the ball rolling over to the Brooklyn, but there is the love tap on the 5-pin.
The crucial stage of this match. That could be the real turning point. Let's see if we can keep this roll happening. At the top of the 9th. He's on a roll now, the young man.
Well, that is what you call capitalising on your opponent making an error. Mark made an error with a frame, and Andrew came back and hit him with a double. And here it is. A little bit tighter line on that left-hand lane, and he says, come on, and there it is. Thank you.
This match still could go down to the wire. Look at him, the young man, really pumped up. If he can strike out, it's 248. Mark Ramsay must strike out here for a 243. Crucial.
baby split. He got the depth of the ball on the lane, but unfortunately, as he's indicating, it jumped on the back end.
Now he's in big trouble.
Well, he's looking down the barrel now. He's gone from being in a very strong commanding position. And also, we must understand that with that one spare being missed, it can really blow your confidence in this tight situation.
Oh, lovely execution of that spare. That was better.
That was absolutely picturesque. The ball going between the two pins and giving him the spare which he required. As we see here, the hard case ball, sending it out, aiming for the left-hand side of that number 2 pin, and the deflection into the 7 pin converts the split.
Take a break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Mark Ramsay looking in trouble against Andrew Drew. Back with the conclusion of this match in a moment. Frame in this game 3 of the step-ladder final of the 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic, coming your way on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Mark Ramsay really needs to punch out here. 3 strikes in a row in the 10th frame. Jeanette would give him a 233 and would really put the pressure on Andrew Drew.
It would, because then Andrew was compelled to get that first strike in the 10th frame. Mark's got to trust this shot and just stay behind it as long as he can to let the ball react as it wants to. Ooh, too safe, too safe. He got the desired release, but unfortunately with Mark getting that depth on the lane, it just went that little bit too long. Must understand that the ball only has to go 6 or 8 inches too long, and that's the difference between what we see there, which ended up being an 8 count, and a strike. As the ball sits, holds, doesn't quite make it to the pocket.
It'll look.
He says it'll do, and it did. Still a super game for Mark. 201 in the 9th with a spare in the 10th, or should we call it the 10th frame, because that's what's going to be in this match. So we see the spare covering it quite confidently, and he'll be looking to put a cap on the end of this game.
Strike here would net him 221.
Ooh.
No, 8 pins down. He finishes with 219. Now Andrew Drew needs to keep clean here.
Exactly. If Andrew hits the pocket and gets a 9 count, then just shoot the spare. He's just got to stay clean. He doesn't have to really bag out. But there's one way to relieve the pressure off of yourself with going for a spare, and that's get that first one in the 10th frame.
Let's see, 20 years of age, Andrew Drew.
Whoa.
No.
That was a wild one. That was way inside target. Not a good release. As we see, started the turn on the wrist too soon. Over it went, missing the head pin completely. Reared right up on the shot, which doesn't help at all.
Very quick into this shot. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
You would not believe it.
A drastic mistake. That has cost the young man victory and put him out of the Coca-Cola Classic. Andrew Drew bows out, $2,000 and 4th place in this year's series. And Mark Ramsay, with a bit of luck on his side, shakes the head. He is through to the next round where he plays Tony Roderick.